Habibullah Saleem, building self-esteem so we will always complete our dream. I want to share with you guys some information. All you out there that's listening and paying attention, the pool table represents, number one, all the balls in the world, all the different cultures in the world. These cultures are protected by the rack. Now, racks are normally made out of wood, and wood represents culture. So when your culture protects all of these balls, that's good, that's great. But when you remove the rack, all these cultures are now vulnerable. They can all be dispersed and scattered out into different directions and controlled because there's six pockets on the table. And all of these balls are to be knocked into the hole by one ball. And one ball represents a mentality that has become real hard. Hard. It's not soft and compassionate, it's hard. And it wants to control all the other balls. So it's a mentality. It's not about white people, black people, it's a mentality. And what happens is, this mentality becomes jealous over the black ball. The black ball. The black ball says, out of the darkness comes the light. Out of the darkness comes the light. So some people become jealous because they had to come out of darkness and into the light. So they want to control that which they came out of. They don't want to show respect. But we are taught to obey the womb that bore you. Obey the womb that bore you. Honor the womb that bore you. Honor thy mother. So the mother of the white ball is the black ball. Now what does black mean? Black represents obedience. Black represents obedience. What does white represent? White represents righteousness. So your righteousness comes out of you being obedient. But when you become disobedient, you become hard. And then you want to disperse and control all the balls. Alright, so you hit the balls. You break them open. Okay, and you scatter them until you can knock them off in a pocket. And they say, in many games, the last ball to get knocked off is the 8th ball. So when the game is over, when you knock the 8th ball in the pocket, game over. But all these balls end up getting knocked off in a pocket. All of them get knocked off. So what ball remains in power? It's that hard mentality. What does the white represent? It represents righteousness. Righteousness. It says, out of your obedience comes your righteousness. So this is righteousness that has become hard and disconnected from its compassion, its original compassion. It wasn't hard like this, but it became hard-headed, hardcore. And now it has caused all the other balls as well to become hardcore, hard-headed. So, but they have to be controlled. And this ball controls all of that. But as long as you have the rack, as long as the rack is around these balls, the rack represents the obedience or the protection of God. The good Lord, He protects us. Once we stay inside of that protection, nobody can disperse and scatter us. We become united as a people, and all of us get along. And guess what? Isn't it amazing that when you rack these balls, it's amazing when you rack the balls, why is the main ball right in the middle the black ball? Because from the black ball came all these other cultures. From the black culture, out of the darkness comes the light. And so once we understand why that ball becomes the target of the white ball. And it's a hard mentality going against these balls, which could be protected as long as they keep the rack on there. But once you take the rack off, and what is the rack? Your disobedience to your Creator. Once you disobey your Creator, it's like having a rack removed. And then once you have God out of your life, as many of our schools don't want us to have prayer over there, once you get God out of your life, you become vulnerable and you can end up in a hole. And many of our people today, all over the world, they're in a hole. They're in a position of despair. They're in a position of pain, suffering, because they did not stay within the perimeter or within the boundaries of the rack. It's like playing basketball. They say when you shoot the ball, make sure you're in bounds. So these balls are inbound. And they say when you hit a home run, you have to touch all the bases. You can't go to second, third, and come home. You're out. You have to touch all the bases. So touching all the bases means that we have 3 points. 3 points here. And all those points represents freedom, justice, and equality. Freedom, justice, and equality. And what is the fourth base? 4 bases. First, second, third, and fourth. What's the fourth one? Morals. Home is morals. So when you're inside this rack, you are morally connected with all other people. So what we have to do in society today is find a way to reconnect all cultures together from a moral foundation and make sure we stay within the protection of the Creator. Make sure we stay, and as long as we stay in the protection of the Creator, we can grow. And grow how? With balance. You're not supposed to just grow. You're supposed to grow with balance. Why can you grow? How do you grow with balance? Why balance? They say when you grow with balance, it means you have met the challenge. The challenge is to not let nobody take away your rack and then disperse you into all these different holes. And you end up in a hole the rest of your life. Thank you. Habibullah Saleem, building self-esteem. Habibullah Saleem, he's not mean, full of steam on the scene. Don't like the pork and beans, the lima beans, the navy beans, the pinto beans. Don't like the melted ice cream. Always on the scene, seldom does he dream. He's not fat, he's not mean, it's not a steam, it's not a dream. Don't get no red beans, no lima beans, the navy beans, the pinto beans, no green beans, no collard greens, and no spring beans. And for God's sake, please don't get a brother no more pork and beans. Let's stay within the rack, and we'll never be held back.